Hello, dear friends. How are you doing? This is Magda course from computer, and then I would like to say you welcome back to this course. Today we are going to start the last part of the fourth chapter, which is about the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things, we actually in the part 1 we have seen some features of Internet of Things, definitions of the Internet of Things, as different organizations have tried to define the Internet of Things. And then lastly, we have summarized the definition of IoT. Like we said that IoT is the combination of service, data, network, and sensors, we have said, if you remember this one generally. And then where the Internet of Things are applicable or used, also the point is which we have seen. Then another point which we have seen is about advantage and then disadvantage of the Internet of Things, obviously. And then lastly, we have seen about the types of interaction in IoT. The three types of interaction in IoT, that means what? Device to device communication, then device to cloud communication, device to gateway communication, where the point is which we have raised in the last past time. So today we are going to see about the architectures of the IoT. When you see the architecture of the IoT, how the IoT can be structured or layered in or architecturized in the way they are working. Okay, so we are talking about the architecture of the IoT. Obviously, we said that IoT is the Internet of Things. Internet of Things means when the things are able or capable to communicate or connect with one another internationally or globally and then share data. We can say that this is the Internet of Things because Internet is the network or international or global network or connection. Then when they are connected together, there is a possibility or probability of sharing data with one another. So if they are able to do this one, they can do what is expected from them. So when we are saying that when in their communication, in their work or transferring data with one another, how they can share, in what sequence or processes the data can be delivered from this initial point to the destination can be the points which we have seen. So there are the architectures or structures through which the data can be transferred or moved from one location to another location or device to device. So especially these network things are focused on, or the architecture of the IoTs are focused on the four points, especially 4 points. That means what? About there is a sensing layer or architecture or level. There is also the networking level. There is the data processing level or layer, and then there is the application layers. So that means what? They can work, or this IoT or Internet of Things can work with the presence of this the hardware or the software or the connectivity of the devices and then the sensors. That means what? If there is the hardware, there should be the software, and then if they are able to connect or work together, there is what? The network connectivity. And then if they are able to connect with one another, there is the way how they can sense or get the data from the environment can be considered as the sensors. So let's see them one by one. Fine, as you see the architecture of this diagram of this IoT architecture, we can see that there is the application layer, there is the data layer or data processing layer, there is the network layer, and then sensing layer. Initially, if you remember or if you see this arrow or this direction, you can understand that how the data can move from one location to another location. That means what? There is a sensor. The sensors are working with the sensing layer, and then different devices or instruments are there, like the Bluetooth and then watch or camera or audio or bulb, whatever. So these all are the devices or the things which are considered as the sensing layer. That means they can sense and then capture the environment and then transfer or move this one into the network layer. And then the network layer or the gateway can accept the data which is received or came from the sensing layer and then connect the things together. Then after that, it transfers this one into the data processing layer. And then the accepted data can be processed or executed in the data processing unit. Like for example, the central processing units can do these all things, and then finally the user can see and then understand what is captured or what is sensed from the sensing layer or from the sensor can be directly used at the application layer level. So we can define them one by one. Actually, the sensing layer, so its main purpose is to identify any phenomena in the device's peripheral and obtain the data from the real world or from the environment. That means what? It is capturing and then seeing the things which are found in the environment. That means what? Identifying any phenomena which are on exist in the environment, and then it can get that one or record or accept that as input and then send it to the networking layer. Especially when we are talking about this sensing layer, there is a sensor hub or the group of the sensors which is in common connection point for the multiple sensors. That means what? In one organization, for example, as a university, if there is a university, the university wanted to plant or build or create the for example, security camera in its organization in appropriate areas. So these all sensors can be, it might be 5 or 10 or more than that one. Then any person can see the things which are ongoing around the different locations by sitting in his or her office only, by seeing from the screen. So this is the sensor hub. They can connect the data or select the data which is found around the environment and then directly send it to the source or send it to the server or the common hub. Then the common hub connects these all things and accumulate them and then forward the sensor data to the processing unit of this server. So that processing unit can accept the data from different angles, from different security cameras or sensors, and then give the definition or decision upon that one. Okay. So the sensors in this device or the sensor devices can be classified into three, especially based on the broad categories described. So we can say that there is a motion sensor, environmental sensor, and then position sensors. Actually, motion sensor means the sensor which is on moving or changing in motion. That means what? It measures the movement or the motion of the things which are found around the environment. That means what? This type of sensors are only oriented or described or obligated to perform or to measure only the change in motion, how the things are moving. For example, the theft maybe or the thief maybe come around that one or something can be moving around that environment. So it is only what? Doing to check the movement or the motion or the change in motion of that things which are in moving, especially when it is doing this change in motion, it can perform in two ways, or it can observe two things from that one, or we can see two things from this one. The first one is the motion of linear motion. The second one is the angular motion. The linear, as its name implies, it is what? It is only one direction. Only one direction. That means what? 180 degree recording only or capturing only. So the linear displacement of the devices can be seen or can be sensed from this one. That means what? It is only seeing from one direction toward the camera is ordered. And then the second one is the angular motion. That means what? This type of sensors are what? Rotating around the area or around itself, around its orbit, and then recording the things which are found in all direction. That means what? 360 degrees can be applicable on this one. So that is why the difference of this one or the motion is or about the movement of the things, which is only 180 degree or 360 degrees can be considered. Okay, so you can see the picture of this one. Someone is trying to break the door of somebody. Someone is trying to break the door of somebody. That means like a thief, like a robber, or somebody who is trying to do damage upon somebody's property. So in this one, we can consider that the motion as a trigger doorbell when someone approaches to the front door. So when the front door is what? Sensor, has a sensor, and then triggering some bell or some sound to the owner of that one. Then also it has what? Some alert should be available. For example, when the kids trying to enter restricted areas in the home, and then it is around giving some understanding and then sensing as it is a danger, and then giving some alert. This is all one of the motion sensors. And then save the energy by using motion sensor, I think, in unoccupied spaces. Notify you if animal enter areas where they are not supposed to be. So these sensors are what? Programmable sensors, and then identify the things and then give some different alerts for the users. Okay, the other one is the second one is the environmental sensors. The environmental sensors. These sensors, such as for example, the light sensors, pressure sensors, are embedded in the IoT devices to sense the change in the environmental parameters in the device's peripherals. That means what? When the things are connected together or embedded together, like for example the sensors which is sensing the speed of the light or the light which is found around the area or the pressure of something, is the work of the environmental sensors. This environmental sensors primary purpose is what? It is the devices to help the devices to take the autonomous decisions according to what? The change of the device. That means what? Automatically giving some decision by recording or capturing or using the things which are found in the environment. So these environmental sensors are used to sense the parameters in the physical environmental things that, like for example, as we said before, about the temperature or the humidity, the pressure, the water pollution or air pollution of the things can be detected by these environmental sensors. So environmental sensors are what? The best thing which can sense the areas or the environment and then give feedback for the concerned body as it is predefined. Fine. For example, I may give you the examples on these environmental sensors. That means what? It is used to monitor the water for the quality, as if it is pollutant or not, thermal contaminations of the water, chemical leakage of the water, or the presence of leak, the fluid water levels. This all can be detected or sensed by this environmental sensor or monitoring sensors. So it can monitor also the soil for the moisture or vibration level in order to detect the and prevent the landslides, especially. That means like the earthquake, or like the as if the soil has the moisture. For example, if you wanted to build some sorry, some building around one area, so you can consider what is the humidity in the soil, and then what is the pressure, the moisture of that water land, and then how it can handle their work can be seen. And then also it is monitoring the forest and protect land for the forest fires. For example, if there is some problem is created around the forest or in the land, and then it can give some highlight forecasts on this one. So this and the so and so forth of the things can be worked by these environmental sensors. Fine, and the other one is the position sensors. The position sensor. The third one is the position sensors. Actually, this position of sensors are dealing with the physical position location of the devices. That means the specific using the GPS, like the exact location of the things, maybe living things or non-living things, and then it is identifying where it is available or where it is found. It may use the magnetic sensor, or it may use the GPS sensor. Especially in the magnetic sensors are usually used to what? Digital compass, and then help to fix the orientation of the device display, because it is directly digitally using the compass, and then try to fix any type of problem or used to identify the location of something by using this compass. But the GPS is used to direct or navigate the things which are found in IoT devices. So this type of sensors can be used to detect the presence or the absence of the objects and measure its distance traveled. That's the best thing. That means what? This position sensor is directly trying to identify or detect where this type of device exists. And then if it is actually exists, but it can perform two things. Is that something is available or not? Is it empty area or occupied area? So if it is occupied area, then how, in what distance that type is available, and then how it is traveled from one location to another location. The distance it is moving or traveling can be also what? Measured by this the position sensors. Okay, fantastic. Then the second layer of this IoT architecture is the network layer. Actually, the network layer accepts the data from the sensing layer, and then connect the things or try to provide the communication channel to transfer the data. That means what? When the data is collected from the sensing layer or from the sensor, and then it accepts that type of data, and then create the transformation or movement of that collected data, and then transfer it to what? To the data processing layer. To the data processing layer. So this type of techniques might be, for example, the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or Zigbee or Z-Wave or LoRa cellular networks. These all things are the things which has the capability of transferring or communicating the data which came from the sensor, and then send to the data processing layer. So it is about what? Creating the bridge or creating the connection between the sensing layer and then the data processing layer. Fine. And then after that, the data processing layer accepts the data from the network layer. So data processing layer consists of the main processing unit of the IoT devices. That means what? When the data is came from this network layer, and then it can get a decision or execution or processing upon this layer, on this layer. So this layer takes what? The action. It takes action upon the device, the materials, or the data which came from that sensing layer through the network layer. So In some IoT devices, for example, a smartwatch or a smart home hub, these are what the data processing layer. The data processing layer which can perform and then give a decision. For example, it is used to applying for what purpose this type of data is coming. So it is going to decide these things. So this layer may share the result of the data processing with what other connected devices via the network layer. You see, it can accept, and then again if it is necessary, and then if it is a must, and then it is what used to share this result back to what back to the network layer. Okay, the last one is the application layer. Actually, this application layer is the physical connection with the human being. Then the last result of the sensed data or values can be seen. So the application layer implements and presents the result of the data processing layer to accomplish the disparate applications of the IoT devices. So this what is already accepting the data and then showing or presenting for the users. So the application layer is what the user-centric layer that executes various tasks for the users. So the final result of the thing sensed from the first sensing layer can be displayed through the application layer for the users. So there exist devices like the diverse IoT applications which include smart transportation, smart home, or personal care or health care things can be seen or can be checked by the application layer devices, and then the user can directly see these things. The other one is the application areas of IoT, where this IoT can be applicable. If you remember in the third chapter, and then in the second chapter, for example, in the third chapter as the artificial intelligence, in the artificial intelligence, we have said that if the situation, the topography, and then the things are comfortable for them, then there is no way we are restricted from this using of the artificial intelligence. We can use everywhere. So again, in IoT also, we have said that the IoT is the combination of the service, the sensor, the data, and then the network. So if these four senses, the sensor and then the service and the network and the data are available, if this can be possibly connected with one another, and then we can use everywhere, which is the Internet of Things can be applicable in all things, but there might be some restrictions, based on the portability of the things, the connectivity of the things, how the devices can be connected. That means what if the location or the area is not comfortable or good for that one, it might be a restriction. But if it is no problem, if there is no any problem for that one, then you can use these things or in that way. So there is no any problem or there is no any challenge for this purpose, we can say that. Okay, so we can use the IoT or Internet of Things in everywhere where the applications are, or the areas are comfortable for that. So, for example, to say some examples of this one, you can say that you can use the IoT in agriculture. So, for example, in agriculture, you can say that for indoor planting, like in door planting areas, or IoT makes the monitoring and the management of microclimate conditions as a reality, or in which it can increase the production. For example, if somebody wanted to build or plant some plants around the environment or around the area or compound, then that person can control the things or the plants which are found indoor of his house by this Internet of Things or by IoT. That means what? It can detect the problems, or for example, micro climate problems might be happen, or it can detect, because since there is a sensor, that the sensor can directly sense the things which are happening on the plants, and then it can increase the production or the productivity. So or in another way, for the outside planting devices, then you can use the IoT technology which can sense the soil moisture or the nutrients, like for example, as I've said you before, then the moisture of the soils can be detected by these things, and then the nutrients which can be used in these things, then in the conjunction with the weather data, better control smart irrigation or fertilizer system. So these all things can be used in agricultural systems to get the better product for the users. So in the agricultural areas, also it can monitor the quality of the soil in the real time, as if the soil is best for such type of plants or materials, and then it can regulate the water supply and then controlling the usage of the water. That means what, how the water should be supplied or applicable in some area, and then it can minimize if there is more, and then it can increase if there is a less usage of that one based on the soil. And then water supply can be detected by these things by controlling, then monitoring and measuring the humidity and the temperature of the areas or the conditions. Because since it is a programmable devices or the programmed devices, it can perform as it is ordered or programmed to perform or to work. Look, for example, this picture is showing you that as IoT is working in the agriculture. So if you see, this one is like the considering the temperature of the areas, like the humidity, or as if that area, what is the temperature of that area, and then for what type of plant it is appropriate or good, and then what I can get from this product after these results can be detected, and then there is a drone which is watering the area. Everything can be detected and then controlled by these IoT devices in agriculture. So in short, we can say that the IoT can be used, or Internet of Things can be used in the agriculture. For example, this person is watering or distributing the maybe the chemical or maybe the water for the plant is in this smart way. That means what, he is controlling the computer or the drone by Wi-Fi, or it might be by the remote controller. So this is a smart way of getting some result can be expected. And then also the climate can be controlled like in the greenhouse. That means what, the temperature of something, as if the humidity of something is increased or not, the light intensity also, and then can be monitored through the various sensors. So these all things can be done by the sensor. Okay, so the other one is we can use in the consumer use, for example, for the private citizens. The IoT devices can form the wearable and then smart homes that make life easier. That means what is the simplification of the life? You can simplify your life by using this use. So for example, the wearables covers the accessories like, for example, smartphone, Apple watches, the health monitors, and then it can use this one. So these devices improve what, the entertainment or the connectivity of the network, and then the health, even the fitness of the human being. So you can use for your health or for use your recreation also. So especially when we are using for this one, the security can be made more accessible as well, because there should be the security which will make the customer having the ability to control the appliances and then light remotely, because these all things can be controlled remotely by the user, and then all of the activities in the smart should be logged to allow the appropriate people to enter the house or not to do this one. That means what? Who should use this one or who should not use? That means giving some privilege for different uses based on the willing of the user or the will of the owner of that environment. Also, we can use in the healthcare. In the healthcare, actually, we have seen also this one in the artificial intelligence, as the artificial intelligence can be used in the healthcare. The same is true for this one. The thing is that the doctors or the physicians are using are very crucial for the users or very important for the patients. So the doctors can simplify their works by using these devices or materials. That means what they can work being on their areas only some location and then detect the problems of the patients or trying to identify the things. That means what feeding some data from the user, and then the device by itself can have the intelligence. Hence, this type of devices can be performed in this way. So, for example, in the hospital, you can say the smart beds keep the staff informed as to the availability, thereby cutting wait time for free spaces. You see, so this whole thing is the sensors can also detect if the patient has fallen or is sufficient heart attack. Sorry. Also, we can use in insurance companies, or we can use in manufacturing producing whatever we want in our area. In retail also we can use in retailing, for example, online and then in-store shopping, especially if you want to buy something being at your home, or online shopping, then in that case you can sell or you can buy whatever it is, because it is provided on the website, and then when you are using your devices, then the figures of the thing can be controlled, the house of the automation, and then maybe it uses the robotics which can sense everything which is found in the environment. So this type of thing is can sense that, for example, if you are trying to buy some good online, for example like on Amazon, and then you can see from the shop or from them, and then you can order something. Then, for example, if you wanted to click on that picture, or for example, you can say you wanted to buy the t-shirt, and then when you click on that one, it tells you or it senses you as if that material or that t-shirt is available or not, as if it is sold or available. So if it is sold, then it tells you this is out. If it is available, then it allow or tell you to ask or to order this t-shirt. So this is the ability of the things or Internet of Things to sense as if the things are available or not for the users. Okay, IoT based smart home, especially actually we have said these all things previously. So smart home initiative allows subscribers to remotely manage and they monitor different home devices. So that means what? If you are working somewhere, and then you can plan, prepare or configure this type of materials in your home, and then have the application upon your mobiles or devices, and then control your home materials being somewhere. So So it is very possible to do this one. So the concept of this smart home has become the reality where all devices are integrated and interconnected through the wireless network. Actually, since it is very far or distant, then it is possible to use the wireless mechanisms to use. So, for example, the remote control appliances, you can control your television or your another devices like the TV or sorry the fridge or refrigerator or the oven or whatever can be considered. And then you can use as if you are using more energy or not. And then considering the weather which is found around the environment, or maybe the humidity of something, temperature or pressure of something can be considered or controlled by these devices at home. Then smart home appliances like, as I've said, LCD LCD refrigerators or washing machines which washes something, or the kitchen ranges which can use in the things, and then you can use this application on your mobile and then directly adjust and then monitor as if you are wanting, or self-cleaning feature also. So the oven can also clean itself by its own. So these all things can be used. Or safety monitoring, for example, the camera, as if the robbers or some problems are affecting your life or your properties, then you can detect this one. Intrusion detection systems, you can consider this one. And then energy and the water use, we have said also this one. So these all are the application areas where you can easily control your devices or your environment by using this Internet of Things. Okay, then the IoT based smart city also. In the city also the IoT can be controlled. The IoT can be checked and then control the environment. For example, the structural health of something. If some buildings are structurized, then it can be controlled as if it is very fine or working or not. You can consider that, for example, the vibration and the material consideration, especially as if the conditions in the buildings are or in the bridges are okay or not, it can be detected. It can be detected. So maybe some problems can be happen if there is a poor monitoring is available. Look, for example, this bridge is already what broken before they are expecting, before they are forecasting this type of problems. Then this type of structures can be happen or problem might be happening. So this type of things should be controlled and then seen by the Internet of Things. Then lightening also, controlling the light in the city or everywhere, increasing the light where it is happen or how it is important based on its importance. This type of lightening intelligent can be happened, and then the thing is found on the street or on the road can be seen. For example, when the drivers are driving at night, and then different lightnings are available on the streets, so they can detect and then identify the purpose of that lightning also. In smart parking, for example, if you are a driver and then if you wanted to stop your car or put your car on parking areas, and then it can senses where you should stop and then how you should stop, the angle, the direction, and then the space that the car is taking in the area can be identified. You should not be too close to the other car, or you should not be used too far from the other cars. So this all can be managed by the IoT. Okay, so we can also use the IoT in the safety areas. In the safety areas, that means what? The digital video monitoring, like for example, fire control management, public announcement systems in the transportation, when we are transferring or sorry, moving from a location to another location, then we can use this type of the safety sensors, and then we can use also in the waste management. For example, if some problem or detecting the rubbish level in the containers to optimize the trash collection routines, or it can use the garbage, and so these all things can be considered or seen in the IoT also. Fine. Okay, so the other point is, or the other thing is about the in farming or animal in farming, like tracking the problem of the cows or the cattle. So it is what about identifying the study of ventilation or air qualities in the farm. So for example, if you want to see this cow, you can detect the problem of the cows. That means what? You can put the sensor upon this cow, and then it can sense the health of this one. That means what? As if it is okay or not, and then send the problem or the things which is found upon the cattle, and then forward to the user or for the concerned person. Oh, oops, we arrived to the end. And then this is the end of the part 2 of the chapter 4. Thank you for watching. And then I would like to ask you if you are happy to this course, and then I would like to ask you to subscribe and then share for the other brothers and sisters to watch. And the next time I will come with the chapter which is called as the title of augmented reality. So we will see, and then I will come you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.